Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast. This is Random,
As
Fleek.
and today we have a special guest, Divya. Divya, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks. So my name is Divya and I am a newly hatched corporate lawyer and I'm a mental health advocate and attempting to be an alternate therapist and a woman in India. So, yay me.
Alright, I am a musician, and you guys already know this. I'm a musician, I'm Mr. Kev, and
I'm a comedian, my name is Aaquib Jaleel.
Today we have a very interesting topic and a sensitive topic. So before which we'll have a disclaimer put out there for all of you guys to read, and also a trigger warning for certain things. Aaquib?
Remember that we are going to be talking a lot about rapes, we're going to be talking about the cases that have been led to that, we are going to be talking about sexual harassment and generally how in the context of what and all is happening right now. Remember that we are not trying to hurt any of your sentiments, what we are trying to do is have open discourse.
And also a rational conversation.
Yes.
I'd also like to reiterate that this we are trying to make sure that this is you've seen our previous segments, they've been a little more of a jovial kind. This is not going to be that. We're going to try and have a conversation where we are trying
All our views are out there in the
Yeah.
open.
Okay, so the case that we're going to be talking about specifically right now is the Utsav Chakraborty case. If all of you have been following it, you would remember that on October 28, 2019, Mahima Kukreja accuses Utsav Chakraborty of sexual harassment. And because of that, she also put out a lot of accounts of different women. And it basically, in essence, got a lot of attention on Twitter. And he lost almost everything.
Yeah. This was when? 2018?
This is October 28, 2018.
Okay.
And there are some points that I just want to clarify here. Mahima Kukreja posts on Twitter that she was sent unsolicited dick pics from Utsav Chakraborty, and even after talking to prominent comedians like Tanmay Bhatt, Khamba, all of those people, they did nothing. Several other women came forward and Mahima Kukreja posted some of their accounts on her Twitter feed with their names blurred out. Utsav Chakraborty then put out a thread apologizing for his acts, and also Tanmay Bhatt put out an apology saying that he was quiet through all of this. During also this time, Utsav Chakraborty was from AIB and they had to take action because of that and took out all videos that had him in it, which was a fair chunk of their content.
Put it on unlisted.
Unlisted.
Even
In
unlisted.
Right now, this is the statement that AIB put out. 100% independent creator-owned company, that is AIB, posted that the allegations going public, their business went to zero. The lack of revenue inflows made it impossible for us as owners to sustain outgoing costs, but with no revenue and operational costs piling up, we had to make some hard and unfortunately permanent decisions. We had to let our office space and entire team go overnight. The statement added all the employees who were let to go managed to find other jobs. The AIB YouTube channel is for all intents and purposes dead for the foreseeable future. There will be no new sketches anytime soon. If and when we decide to release other content on the channel, example stand-up clips, you will be the first to know, it added.
Yeah, so this was the summary of what went down last year. And what we are going to break down is the recent developments of how Utsav has come out saying there were certain things that he couldn't tell back then that he is willing to do right now, and he's released a bunch of screenshots. There has been a leaked conversation of him with this Mahima. And
Mansi and Mahima.
sorry?
Mahima and Mansi.
Mansi is the lawyer. Yeah. So these are conversations that's out online. You guys can check it out. I'll try linking it down below. And also,
If the video is still available.
it's still available.
It's about 45 minutes long. One conversation.
One conversation.
And the other one is about 7 minutes long. Yeah.
But it's like the other one was
The first
setup
one,
to the-
Setup, yeah,
The first one is basically where she's like, okay, let's bring in the victim as well. Let's talk about it.
And then the
next one. Where,
so here the recent developments happened somewhere in November 2019, like the late
21st.
Yeah,
November
21st. Yeah, 21st to I think 24th also till 24th.
It started in November 21st and it's still going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why we wish to break this down is because it's a very, very grey area for us as well. There are certain things that we can, we cannot say for sure on whose side we can take. And since there are people out there who have already taken sides, it's a very difficult thing to have a conversation about. So here we are trying to break that down, help put out the facts as fairly as possible, and then view our opinions.
One more thing I want to add also specifically to this case is that for me it means a lot because of the kind of content that I do generally put out. And even this show, Random as Fleek, is something where we want to talk about controversial topics, we want to make fun of it, we want to make light of it, and give it that exact value. And something like this where the only issue is that the truth is not out is very important to us. At least for all of us, that's what we want to bring out. But for you guys are very familiar with the case as you know because we've been
I've never seen Aaquib put down material like he did for us. We have like this WhatsApp group where he put out a document saying, hey man, these are the things that I did. And check it out.
He's done his due research.
Yes, that's fine. But we are basically going to break down for each allegation as of now. We are not specifically talking about the Mahima Kukreja case where she was sent certain pictures, unsolicited dick pics and things like that, simply because there's still not a lot of information available. And I think Utsav has not put out anything about her yet.
Yes.
And I don't understand why. That's one weird thing for me. But there have been three other cases that I want to specifically point
so
out.
Mahima was the person who was putting out. That's the.
So
thing
in 28, so this is what the chronology is like this.
Yeah.
Mahima put out on October 28th her first tweet saying that this person has sexually harassed me, and then put out different accounts over a period of a week or
screenshots of other people coming and telling her that this person has done the same thing to me or similar thing to me, and those screenshots were put up on her Twitter account, and this happened over a course of a month or
a week or two is what
and that's when the AIB thing happened and it came down crashing for them. And in recent times, because Utsav has come out putting out his side of the story, which
it's still not confirmed in the sense that if AIB is coming back in full stretch, but it looks to be because Tanmay Bhatt is back, which is also a very strange thing because Tanmay Bhatt has recently started putting out content.
Okay.
And he was a judge in Comicstan, right?
No, but that was before.
That was before.
That was the first.
Comicstan 2 came and he wasn't a judge.
Yeah.
Which was again very surprising because he was a very well-known individual, but because of the case, of course that happened.
Right.
But just a couple of months before this happened, he slowly started putting out content.
We had One Mic Stand, another show by Amazon where Ashish Shakya was one of the members.
But again, Ashish Shakya, Rohan Joshi weren't properly involved in this case. Tanmay Bhatt and Kamba were more involved because they
were aware.
They were co-owners.
And they were aware. They were the ones who were contacted according to Mahima.
Yes.
So recently, Utsav has come out putting his side of the story where basically he puts out the screenshots of conversation where he claims that the other screenshots that were put out were cut down, like as in they were edited. Some of the messages were...
So that's like per person.
Yeah, per person. We'll break that down for you guys. But before we get into this, I wanted to ask Divya this question. Why would you hold back on information like this? Because if you're being told that you basically sent me unsolicited pics or you harassed me. If you have proof of something like that and you've been publicly ousted, why should someone hold back on that info?
I think for him, given by the audio that I've heard of the conversation, he's just completely devastated about the fact that his recognition, his individuality is no longer accepted, is no longer recognized. Like, he was just starting to get gigs. He was just starting to be recognized as an up-and-coming comic. And to be shut out like that, to be ousted like that just because this has happened. I'm not saying what he's done is justified, but I'm just saying that this was probably a lot for him to take in. So maybe because of which at that point of time he was just like, okay, my mental state, I really can't do this at this point of time. Because it's happened.
He's also come out and apologized on a...
It's not apologized technically.
Yeah.
It was more of the sense of like saying like...
feeling guilty for something. For sending the dick pics probably. I don't know what exactly
But isn't that how society works? I mean, if the society comes and attacks you saying, no, you're eating meat, that is wrong, that is unacceptable. So even though you do like beef, you end up saying you will not eat beef because, everyone around you is saying no. And there's no comparison here, I'm just giving an example.
Here it's more of like, he came out saying, hey, I shouldn't have sent that, and I believe it. I mean, I take that. I mean, I take back my that moment.
Moment.
But then again, Mahima has come out and said, oh, this guy apologized over there. Such a I think she put out.
She attacked him full on, dude.
Yeah.
There was no remorse from her side.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even talking about the remorse. I'm just like putting out what happened. So, even then, since you have all this evidence, all those people's evidence, why is he holding back on the information? And
can I?
Sorry to interject, but even in the audio, even otherwise, because all of this happened and because people have slowly ousted him from their circle, this is where he's taken that time to reflect, to understand. And what he's doing right now is just making compilations and just collecting data that is there available on his phone or on his device. And he's just taking it and making sure this is what I have. And like he said, WhatsApp has a delete feature. So you have a delete for everyone and delete for yourself feature. And it's there for I think about 3 hours, 4 hours, I don't know, I might be mistaken. At least back then I think it was about an hour. So now they would have extended the timeline. But yeah, so someone, if I'm not mistaken, it was Kanika Kaul who did that. She deleted her side of it. Again, we'll get into it when we actually talk about it.
It's more Jetli. Kanika Kaul was a different
Sorry.
But this is not a
what I'm trying to your question, I'm just trying to understand if this is the question you're asking. Are you asking if because he had information beforehand, he obviously did. Why did he not immediately put it out? Wow.
What are the
was there any legal reason for him not to put it out immediately?
Not that I can think of at the moment, but like I said, his state of mind is also something I feel we have to understand has played a pivotal role over here for the.
I think there is more reason could be that he if he had put out
and
all
he's
those
wanting to, he's just capitalizing on it in one way. I guess you can say that because he's just taken this and now from being like a sex offender or from being someone who's harassed women, his side of the story is coming out, so more people are like, acha theek hai, let's just listen to what he has to say.
Okay.
So probably waiting,
I think that's the point.
Stretching the entire thing and making sure he gets good footage out of it.
Okay.
I mean,
no, I think that's the more points in that is the fact that if he put out things during that time, it would have just been blown over. But because there were so many accounts, that would have been the issue.
And not to forget the Me Too movement when it started, it was completely on the side of the women. Like from Hollywood till over here till our own Bollywood industry. Sajid Nadiadwala or whatever his name is. So he's
this guy also, the Queen director.
Vikas something. So again, those people, it's been so blown out of proportion, I would say. If you ask right now what is the state of those allegations or what is happening in terms of that, where are they right now? I think he's still living his life. He made some crappy movie called Houseful 4.
No, I don't think.
I'm sorry.
I think another director took
Again,
over his material.
disclaimer, I am not offending anyone.
No, but he.
But weirdly, you
some
are.
other.
I gotta just point that out. Anyway.
Anyways, moving past that, let's get into the details of this one.
Okay. So let's go case by case because.
Yes.
And so again, I was looking up things for this particular case. Sadly, the issue with this particular thing is that because he's putting out the screenshots, that's the only information available to us. So I tried scouring the net to look for more information about this. I even tried contacting some of them. It didn't work out. No, just to understand
His
more
side
about
of the story
the
as
story a
well.
little
Just get
more.
more information.
There's
out
more
there.
information out there,
Yeah.
but there's no possibility of getting that information right now. But there have been three main allegations that we want to talk about. The three people I'm looking because I don't want to mess up their names.
Yeah, and we'll put up the screenshot right here for you guys.
Yes. The three people that we're going to be talking about is Krupa Gohil, Chanya Jetli, Kanika Kaul. And they weren't the ones who put out the tweets. It was Mahima who put out these tweets and blurred out their names. And Utsav, using those tweets as a reference, decided this person is talking about this person. From the way they were talking or probably...
the half side of the display picture.
Something.
He's
creepy.
found his way.
It's very creepy is all I can say. But he did...
I mean, he
has to say
he has to,
face.
man. At the end of the day...
give out his side of the story. So he needs to understand which woman is accusing him of what.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put up the screenshots right now. The first screenshot that he posted was of the Instagram DM between himself and Jetli. And it shows a barrage of texts from him. And then one text saying, I was uncomfortable. And then he makes the he makes the claim that there were texts in between this all where she did comply to whatever he was asking, and the reason for some of the disagreements was deleted out. That was the whole point of this. And we now know not for a fact, but simply with the information that he has given and from the tweets that Jetli has put out, that this is true. There was Facebook messages between those two, and Jetli also put out tweets saying, I apologize for what I did.
Yeah, and he also asked her to do so on the messages.
Yes.
To be very clear on that.
And the reason that she gave for doing any of this was to say I didn't want my chats were being shown to my ex-boyfriend and I didn't want him to see my kind of texts, so I deleted my side of the conversations. I apologize for that. And there's also one more point that has to be remembered, that this all started because of another person who tweeted this out. It was post by Sanil Gosavi,
the ex-boyfriend.
the ex-boyfriend.
You know what?
Sanil Gosavi.
What kind of confuses me, I don't know, what is very, what irks me is the fact that none of them have filed a case. And it's all happening in social media, right? So basically, we as people are making a swing this side or that side, and I'm trying to figure out I want to ask you, will these hold in court?
Any of these?
Any of these?
Yeah. So we have something known as the Information Technology Act 2000, and thereafter there have been certain rules and regulations that have been brought in. So with respect to this, yes, this will come under the definition of electronic evidence. We have something known as the Indian Evidence Act 1872. It's a very archaic law, but that's what tells us what is an evidence. So Section 3 of the Indian Evidence Act, as well as using the IT Act, this will come under the ambit known as electronic evidence.
Okay.
So this can be used since it's primary in nature.
Okay.
If it's secondary in nature, if it's through someone else or a hearsay kind of a thing, hearsay as it is not admitted. But But if it's something like, oh, you told me, your friend and your friend's friend has come and told me this,
Okay.
that will not amount to the evidence.
Okay.
Since this is primary, this is directly like a conversation between these two parties, this will amount to that. And as far as what I've heard from the audio also, he's constantly said, please file an FIR. Please seek legal remedy.
This audio, let me reiterate that this is the audio about the conversation between Mahima and...
Yeah.
Go on.
So over there also he said please file an FIR, and he's more than okay with wanting legal action because I feel that he understands what he's done is wrong. There's no excuse for that. But it's also kind of tiresome because he's sort of a public figure and his life is just put out there. So there is either like a right group or a left group. So there's just two extremes of this side that's happening. So it's better, I guess, for him that he feels that he wants a mid ground where he's like, okay, you know what, let the law decide how guilty I am.
Okay.
Rather than saying, you are at fault, you are a sex offender, you are so and so. And one side coming to his rescue or saying, I agree he's done an offense, but the gravity of that offense is not as great as this. So
one question that I had was the fact that like this doesn't really disprove anything for me.
no,
Like especially this particular case, I'm like, okay, she deleted messages, but does that mean like what you did was not uncomfortable? I mean, there is such a grey area to what point I felt sexually harassed, right?
see, Aaquib, sorry to interrupt. Each person's comfort level is different. See, each person has a different personal space that they are willing to let the other person into. Someone might be okay with this, someone might be okay with one night stand, someone might be okay with a lot of other things. But we can't really say, okay, as a society, this is where the personal space ends. Or, you come one more bit closer and you will not make me uncomfortable. There are people, there are women, there are other people out there who are uncomfortable to even just have a conversation of such nature. So the degree of uncomfortableness cannot be measured over here, I would say,
And
unless
I
and
also
until we have
think-
everything out
Yeah,
there.
And I
that's-
also think messages are the worst way
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
get
I
to
get
understand
it.
what a person feels. I text like, hey, are you kidding? Is a text that I send you. And it could be of both sides, both extremes.
Yeah.
You do realize that, right? Like it
Yeah.
can be,
Yeah.
are you kidding? Like,
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
and like the kind of text, I get.
I
what
mean,
you
like that's where.
And I recently read an article that said screenshots can be doctored, can be made by way of coding.
Okay.
Yeah, so by way of coding, you put in those things and it will come, and then again, one more way people do doctor these kind of screenshots is by deleting certain things, and then it'll be like, oh, you know what, I am the victim or he's the victim. So
Which is what Utsav also brings out. But again, my only problem with this is that it doesn't.
It's not justified.
It proves nothing.
So,
Yeah.
let's dig more into the next one.
Next is
Kanika Call, right?
Kanika Call.
Yeah.
Kanika Call is probably the most intense one, it was very intense because Mahima put out tweets, which we'll be putting up here as well, about how she was much younger than him, and that how can such a creep exist.
And apparently, she was also working for OML. No?
No, she's
That
a
was-
content.
Kanika Call hadn't yet started working with anybody. I think
Okay.
she was
Not at
just-
that point of time. At a later point.
At a later
of time,
point of time,
yeah.
she got into it.
Okay.
So what happened with the Kanika Call case is, do you want to talk about this because?
No, go for it. Go
good.
for it.
Kanika Call's case was interesting because it started off by because it changed as the tweets
the
went
narratives
through. As the
changed, yeah.
narrative immediately changed. So the initial narrative was that Utsav got her number somehow, texted her, made her very uncomfortable, and then continued to harass her.
And we are putting up the tweets as we speak.
All of these.
The
these are all-
Snapchat
the
screenshots.
Snapchat
yeah.
screenshots. The Snapchat stories come later.
Yeah, you guys can pause anytime
these
you want. And
conversations are there in the Snapchat.
I know that happens.
yeah, you guys can pause
later.
anytime and
Just read through the
Yeah.
text just so you're clear as well.
Yeah.
It starts out with Mahima's tweets and then it goes on to her specifically saying, and he takes the screenshot of that, which is, how did he get my number? And there is this Snapchat story that comes into play that she says to him happy birthday, and they have like a very general good
conversation.
Talks about meeting her in Bangalore, and then finally shows her giving the number to him
Yeah.
through Snapchat, which is already like very shady by itself. But as these tweets came out, her reply for these tweets came out, which is much worse, because what she started saying was like, at that point of time, I forgot. I feel very bad about the narrative that has been placed and all of these things. And Utsav was like, you are doubling down on me being the creep, and yet I have proof that shows that
You've shared
you
your
have shared
contact
contact
info.
with me. You asked me to be like happy birthday to me. You told me this. How is it valid that
you're
I am the
calling
one
me
who has harassed you? And there was also screenshots of the WhatsApp text between them, and it did not sound as though it was a problem.
Yeah.
It sounded like very common. I have a point to this particular. I just want to point out this particular text. This is what worries me about digital media is the fact that he could have deleted a lot of those messages. There are huge possibilities. Like we are seeing from his side only. I don't know if Kanika Kaul has put out
It's the
any.
same way. Chania Jaitley's deleted certain of her responses.
It's very possible
and,
he could have doctored those as well, because her reactions to some of it was like little strange to me.
Yeah. Could possibly.
Like, why did she suddenly why was she feeling anxious? It seems like there were
some
other
conversations that were left
could
out.
have happened.
Yeah.
This is all speculation, by the way. This is not fact. This is speculation. So I just want to be clear on that. But I did feel like it's very possible that it could have been doctored. But I still have to agree with the fact that her just sort of like saying like I forgot is a little problematic. Yeah, Krupa Gohil specifically is even more shadier, because I don't.
There's no information.
There's
to
no
go
information
about it.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
And to be very honest, it feels like for Krupa Gohil, her I don't know what her Twitter name was. @4 angry, I think it was what it was called.
Yeah, 4 angry. Yeah, 4 angry.
It was angry.
Yeah,
but 4.
Okay.
She was an ex-AIB writer, and the reason that she put out her tweets at the start was to say that AIB has always been like this. She never liked working with AIB, by the way. And she put out a tweet saying like, people like Utsav is the reason that I felt very unsafe at work. And he has also sent me unsolicited dick pics. And then there is a conversation, and this is not like put out in like as tweets as such. They became more like personal stories. That was the whole issue here, where people came forward and said, hey man, how could you do such a thing to this person? And he basically says like, that's untrue, this is what the case is, and all of those things. Specifically to her, she put out those tweets talking about AIB, and then he puts out a message saying, hey, we spoke, we had like a good relationship going on, because he also hated AIB. And
there were exchanges.
There were exchanges which seemed very friendly. She said at one point, tell me in call me and tell me what the problem has been. And then it goes on to further showing a Snapchat between those two. She uses the screen name Anochibi?
Accio something.
Achiobe.
Okay, the Harry Potter
Achiobe. And in that, it seemed again like she was the one who started the whole interaction. She was the one who asked for the nude. He sends the nude, she sends her nudes. And I'm suddenly like, okay, what happened here? How did this happen here? And her point, and I again have to go back to the point that sexting is different.
Yeah.
She does say sexting
In
is completely
caps.
different.
She
Yeah.
highlights that saying sexting is completely different. So, again, talking about the element of consent over here, how and where do you draw the line? And if you are drawing the line, then how do you inform the other person that this is where my comfort is ending? This is what is acceptable for me. This is what is unacceptable for me. Like we just said, it's completely a grey area with respect to her.
I've actually thought about it, okay,
Yeah.
to be very honest. People like myself, and I'm not including you, people like me, no? If, let's say, you are giving a global sign of like, this is the end, like, this is where you stop. Let's say you have like an emoji that says, okay, if I put this out, that means you have to stop. People like me will misuse it. Okay, to a sarcastic nature. That's where the gray area is very difficult. In that sense that, like, you can't have we can't literally draw a global line to something like this.
Yeah.
Even if the conversation was on the phone, sometimes it's very difficult to tell what exactly certain
Transpired.
yeah, like unless or until you're sitting in front of that person and talking, and you can see their facial expression, you can't really tell whether they are being serious or whether they are.
But even
that's-
then, we're just like, I feel like as Indian men, we're just really bad with body cues, man.
I agree, dude. Dude, first off, we are not taught how to deal with something called puberty.
We celebrate it, but we are not taught how to treat it. Yeah,
But
That's an
treat
Utsav.
it. It's a very it's a serious podcast.
Pun intended, sorry.
but coming to think of it, right? Since you mentioned, I believe it's there. We don't have proper sex education. We don't have. One of the things that I've seen, especially in schools, this is one thing I'm very vocal about. At the school itself, we are splitting them as boys and girls school. Even if it's a co-ed school, there are people who beat the guys for going and talking to a girl, which calls themselves a co-ed school. In such a scenario, I'm not using this as a defense, but in such a scenario, there is that sense of I don't know what it is. Probably a sense of curiosity that grows, and I'm not claiming that to be right. I'm saying that has to be rectified. It has to be
So
at some
it's
point.
like a trial and error process, because see, someone might be acceptable with, okay with holding hands. Say a couple, they start dating, and the girl is okay with holding hands, but the boy wants more. Like you said, there's an element of curiosity that is there.
Yeah.
The girl clearly says, I'm okay with holding hands, I'm okay with hugging, but this is where I draw the line. This is something that I want after marriage. The sexual relations or anything that is involving a form of intimacy is something she wants after marriage. So here she's been vocal about what she wants. But then the guy kind of gets like,
No, this is again like personal interactions, right?
Yeah.
I'm more of like talking in general about, like, we're talking about us men not really feeling all that comfortable talking to women, not knowing social cues of certain things. You should get the hint. This is the common thing that get the hint, move on, stuff like that is something that you hear as a guy.
often, yeah.
And those social cues, I'm saying those are things that you can, like when you're growing. See, I have a personal experience because I was taught in a school where we were sitting with another girl. Like when we were young, we were taught to sit with each other, and we were comfortable. More or less, we used to sit because we were sitting together. We were more in conversation. We can relate to certain things, and I thought that process could have gone even till the class 12. In college, like the college that I studied, it was totally fine. Guys and girls used to sit together. There was no policing of that. But in schools, in certain schools, they're very strict on that. I don't know why.
So, see, these days I feel because of technology, because of internet, everyone can access information at the swipe of a button. So where earlier, so I 10th standard, we had this subject called biology, and in this chapter talking about reproduction system of women and of men, of males and females. So I still remember when we had that chapter, and when the guys of our class would open the book, they'd be like, oh my god, we're going to know. And the whole part of that chapter was lost completely, I feel, because instead of educating men and making those boys understand that there's something known as menstruation, there's something known as hormonal changes that happen, not just only in women but also in men. That's how puberty hits you. That's how you grow.
I give it to you. I got to learn about sex through porn. To be very honest, that's where it is, and be very open about it.
So
great at it also.
So we had it in such a way where the science teacher had a separate session for the boys and for the girls. So for the girls,
you don't know about the guys.
Let me finish, because I had a few friends, I had a few classmates who went for that thing. So it was basically like a 10-minute thing, and they were told, okay, you know what, you're going to have to answer. These are the biological changes that a woman goes through. No understanding of what a uterus is, no understanding of what a hymen is, anything of that sort whatsoever. Because I feel, India as a country, sex is a very taboo topic. Right now, our generation is sort of okay with saying, oh, you know what, premarital sex is cool. Oh, you know what, okay, generally you're having that, it's fine, it's acceptable. People have broadened their horizons, but if you talk about like a generation earlier or 2 generations earlier, they're going to have different thoughts about it, and they're going to be very vocal about it. So it's kind of like the same thing. I feel like we've just taken a complete detour from the
No,
topic.
it's not a problem. I think what you guys are talking about is like essential to what
sex education thing.
Sex education
so
is important.
People don't get the cues, and I feel a large portion of it is also our media, because whether you see Bollywood or whether you see any I think it's called Collywood or Tollywood, whatever. So they're also, the movie industry. Basically, it's like if the girl is saying no, means she's interested. Like just saying a flat out no is not simple enough a message to make you understand.
It's insinuated and it's depicted as
there were these set of lyrics from this Shah Rukh Khan movie called Josh, saying ये उसका style होएगा, photo पे ना दिल में हाँ होएगा, which means this is her style. On the lips it's a no, but in the heart it's a yes. So I should pursue her, I should make her feel so objectified, I should just keep bugging the shit out of her until she's like, bhai chhod de. And not even that, we have people, ministers and these so-called godmen who are like, at the time of rape you should just hold his leg and say, bhaiya mujhe chhod do. And because he's a brother, his moral compass from somewhere will just rise.
I feel like if your moral compass has to be coming out while doing the action is the worst
thing. And now he's behind the bars.
See, I agree that a lot of us don't understand social cues, and that it's very necessary that we learn all of this.
And also a large chunk of men are the ones who are being creepy, because there is that kind of a growth. I wouldn't say we haven't learned, we are learning.
The 3 cases that we spoke about, I don't see an issue with the first case, that is Jaitli's case, because I feel like that was pretty cut and dry by itself, because she ended up putting out her tweets, and I did check up on this as well. She did put out those tweets. There are screenshots to prove that as well. And her particular case seems to be a thing of, I don't want to feel subjugated by my boyfriend, like I don't want him to attack me on this.
Which is a standard Indian girl mentality.
Which is completely fine, and I don't feel like there's any more things we can talk about.
Right.
With Kanika Kaul's case, I am very worried about how people perceive information. Because the narrative was in such a way, because when I read it the first time back in 2018 and
2017 was when it all started, and
do you have some background for that?
I have a timeline that's established by the base of the tweets. So 2017 is where it started, and this one, our amazing Mahima Kukreja ji.
Wow, that's no sarcasm at all.
No sarcasm. Okay.
It's a proper noun. I'm addressing her very respectfully.
Come on.
Okay. Now just let it go. Let
Oh,
it
come
go.
Okay, guys.
Guys!
Sorry.
Coming back to this, yes.
Okay, but yeah, going by the timeline, so Miss Kukreja said, like we had already discussed at her this thing, that her age was much more younger. So basically, this was going to be a much more higher offense because than intended. Because if she was a minor, the charges would be different altogether.
Okay.
So it would be, I think it's called the POCSO Act, Prevention of Offences against Children for sex offences.
Okay.
I don't know what the.
I'm very sorry, but tell me what the thing was again.
POCSO.
I'm writing down these
Yeah,
things
just
that
make
need
sure
information.
that it's
Okay.
moving. It's okay. No
So
issues.
the POCSO Act, I don't know.
I'll
Just
try
remove
to.
the, yeah, just
I know
remove
that's okay.
that.
I'll just link it over
Yeah.
here. I mean, or not link it. What was that?
Descriptions
Screenshot?
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
screenshots. Yeah.
So had she been a minor, obviously the POCSO Act would have come into effect and everyone would have, accordingly have to take action in that because it's a minor. Obviously you're going to have to file a complaint. And now since that whole narrative changed, she then stated that she was a whole lot younger, but the actual fact was she was just 1 year younger. She was about 23 or 22. Yeah.
Around that time.
Around that time.
And
She was still studying.
yeah.
And then she started work and then they spoke. So going by the Snapchat conversations, the tweets, it's all a very common conversation, very normal conversation which you would have with someone you sort of have met, or you sort of are more aware about कि हाँ someone like this exists. I'm just having a conversation like how we are having a conversation right now. So it's just like that, but then it took a completely different turn altogether, direction altogether, because then Mahima was like, no, this is not how it was. He has found my number from elsewhere, and he's trying to find where I am, who I am. Whereas the contact name that he saved, the details, the chats, everything, she herself is like, I will share my geographical location with you. I am in Bangalore. I live in Kormangla. I live here. I do this. And as is seen, she has shared her contact information on her own. And then to come at a later point of time and say, oh, you know what, I would have forgotten, that doesn't quite add up.
So now, since we've spoken about all these instances and all these case by case, we've gone by 3 people. My main concern, or like my main worry, is that the conversation is going to, the narrative is going to shift, especially for the movement. Okay, in terms of this person was one of those big reveals of the Me Too movement, and that hitting back is going to take a like it's going to pull down a lot of things that these people have achieved. And a lot of people see, I had a conversation with this other friend of mine, and she was telling me the Me Too movement to her is not about celebrities. It's about a working class person, or even not just working class person, a person who's not
Not in the limelight.
villages.
Not in the limelight.
From the villages.
Yeah.
Like you may, there are cases where when we were talking about this, watchmen wanting to feel something, just the transaction of some money, like in certain
Lift
places,
operators,
lift operators. These are vocal things that we don't know, and we don't have any proof or
But
evidence
then
of it.
again, Kevin, we're talking about people from the grassroots level.
Yeah, I mean, like
The awareness is not there. If you're gonna
I mean,
talk about,
I get that. Like, no, what
You
what
look
she
at
was telling
Haryana
was
also.
what she was telling was the movement is for them. It's so that the celebrities can come out and be okay about it. Especially, it's a similar trend for mental health. A lot of celebrities go through mental health issues, and they are coming and they're being vocal and open about it, saying it's all right to speak about it. And a lot more people are coming out and talking about it. And
You
I
look
think
at how many people are seeking therapy now versus earlier.
yeah, so I think it's that same thing that they're trying to deliver with the Me Too movement, right? And that is what the conversation I was having with my friend was like she was telling me it's more about the working community, a position of power
More
coming
common
into-
man perspective.
Yes.
But to be very honest, my thinking about this whole thing is Twitter's population as such is not that big. Okay, like if you look at it as a social media thing, it's not a huge population.
Okay.
So the fact that it got that virality from it is slightly disturbing to me, because I am suddenly just thinking that like I know grassroots levels, I know all these things, but I'm sort of like thinking about like what happens to people who just generally talk or who generally have a conversation about this. Like I'm very sure the minute we put this out, there are going to be hundreds of people just telling
Commenting,
us like, how could you trivialize this? How could you say this? How could you say
Right,
that?
right.
My point is that the population of Twitter is a very small population. They are very powerful people, and hence they have a lot of power coming into this. Reach out. And the scariest thing here is that there was so much things that Kanika Kaul got out of getting it. Which again, this is from his tweets. There is another section of his tweets where he explains why he feels Kanika Kaul doing this was good for her, because she got like a list of writers to work with. She got a lot of contacts to go
So
with.
that is also a grey area. Like if you ask me, people say, why would I come out that's one of the common threads that a lot of people use, who come out publicly saying, accusing someone of harassment. Why would I put myself through it just to get famous or get that?
But if you look at it, sorry to
Yeah, go
interject,
ahead.
but if you look at it this way, like he said, the amount of contacts that she's built with. Now,
Over
okay,
a year, by the way.
Now what happens if I am a hard-working, self-respecting woman and I go by myself and I approach you, versus I come and say, oh, you know what, this happened to me, I am brave enough to talk about it. We don't know how much of that bravery is hollow,
Okay.
but it at least gives...
1 minute. Disclaimer, okay? Fucking read the disclaimer. This is an opinion. Let it go. This is my issue. I'm so
Please don't
scared.
bash me.
I don't
Please
know why I'm
bash me.
scared. I'm so scared to talk about this.
No,
Please
it's all
continue.
right. It's all right. Go on.
Yeah, please don't bash me.
No, please, please understand we're trying to rationally speak about this
Yeah.
without any kind of stand,
I've had
not taking
people-
any sides.
I've had people who are going to say or who have already stated that, oh, you're a mental health advocate, shouldn't you be empathetic and understand the other person's side? I am, but there's a difference between being kind and being manipulative. So what I'm saying, this is a possibility because this has happened earlier, and this is not just me saying that. If you look back in whatever sectors of work, we've always had that thinking, and we've always been proved right in some instances, and in otherwise, I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong in this circumstance, but that's what I feel, in that 1 year, if you're able to have such a good reach, I mean, you get what you want. Now your name is out there, your tweets are all out there, and people are like, oh my god, she's so strong to talk about this, she's so brave to talk about this, we should, back her up, we should encourage this.
Also, you have to remember they all come from creative fields.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what we are all strive for, at least both of us strive for, is internet cred. We want that. And if this is the way to go about it, there's honestly nothing as bad publicity at the end of the day for something like this specifically, because Me Too movement is also such a big banner of like so many powerful people.
I remember listening to one movie's dialogue saying any publicity is good publicity. So, again, please don't bash me.
There is
But if you want to, add her on Instagram, guys. No publicity is bad publicity, right?
See, I'm just trying to talk about the stigma over here, the fact that her narrative completely shifted. It just took a full 360-degree turn, where initially she was the victim, and now when the tweets came out, when the Snapchat conversation came out, where she has shared her location, her contact info.
But just to play devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
what if she actually forgot? I'm just saying, what if?
Okay.
No,
let's,
the idea
let's
could just be
consider
like,
that.
Okay.
that
Yeah.
perception.
Let's
Yeah.
consider.
What if?
Yeah.
What if like I don't remember giving my number. I don't remember talking to him about these things. And as I said before, there's a huge possibility. Rearrangement of text is all you need.
And there is so I remember so there is a parallel case to this. I'm sorry, I'm meaning. I mean,
No,
not
please,
fast.
go ahead.
We know about Andy Signore's case. Andy Signore is this creator, which is very similar. This case is very similar to how Arnab, I mean not Arnab, Arnab Goswami, Utsav Chakraborty.
Please
It is
remove,
you, Arnab.
please remove this.
Arnab Goswami did not do anything.
The nation wants to know.
That's clipped.
Oh, sorry.
That's clipped. No issues.
Welcome to the conclusion. This part of the podcast was supposed to be recorded beforehand, but because of Kevin's mess up, we are here now. Thank you, Kevin. You are amazing. Anyway, the conclusion has been, for me at least, that Utsav's case is a very specific case of how narratives can change because of how people put out information. Especially in the era of social media, we have to be careful about what we're saying and what we're talking about. And especially if you're looking at accusing people of heinous activities, we have all the information out there. It's difficult, it's hard, but it's something that has to be done. Please make it a point to talk about the things that matter and be truthful about them.
In conclusion, I think I just want to talk about three main things. Primarily, the concept and the understanding of personal space and consent. So each individual's personal space and the concept and understanding of that varies. It is customized to each person and we should be respectful and mindful of that. A. B. Just try and understand that this entire movement was not about women empowerment or was not about one particular gender, but it was totally about this particular incident where people's rights have been violated, their own self have been violated. So to just keep that in mind, to understand that not one person or one gender has to be targeted and said that, yeah, okay, because all men are dogs or something on those lines. At the end of the day, we should just try and remember that there are three sides to an event. Their side, our side, and the actual truth. And lastly, I would just like to say, all of us have a voice. Make use of it. Just stand up for yourself.